I want to be a photographer. Cool. You need to go ahead and charge like $500. That's like the industry standard, and then you're good to go. All right, so charge the $500, friends and family, let everybody else know around here, and yeah, just come on to me, and we'll be good to go, and I'll make my first $1,000. So that $1,000 is huge. I mean, it just helps with your self-confidence. Just seeing those 3 zeros, it really, really helps. And let's say you can get to like $1,000 a month. You can make a great part-time income. That's $12,000 a year just coming from something that you just love to do and you have a passion for. I'm Andy Varnes. I started a photography company back in 2019. I had never touched a camera before, and now it is currently 2022. I'm sitting in my studio, and I'm only a couple steps ahead of you, and I just want to teach you some stuff that I've learned along the way. First things first, what's my time worth? At the time that I was starting everything, I was worth about $14 an hour. I was working part-time as a marketing intern, and I was also a full-time student. So society told me I was worth $14 an hour. That is what I was getting paid for the skill set that I had. But I had this passion for photography, and I was like, okay, I really want to try to make some money off of this thing, but overall, I really just want to learn this industry. And that's really where you have to be at this stage of everything. So figure out what your time is worth, and this is where you got to humble yourself and say, currently in this photography area, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor. If you're a terrible photographer, nobody's going to pay you anything for it. So figure out what everybody around you is going to pay for it, and then go from there. For me, it was very, very, very low. I had absolutely no network, and I just kind of took everything and ran with it. I was much more focused on learning over making money anyways. And actually, like, side note, I was gonna say like learn over earn, but then I took it out because it sounded really cheesy, but I'm throwing it back in here because it is honestly a super important thing to do and to live by. To this day, I'm more focused on learning a skill set over earning a skill set. And I think just in life, if you're more focused on learning over just trying to make the most amount of money possible, you're going to be happier, and you're actually going to earn more money in that long run. So step 1, find your niche. For me, it was sports. I really knew sports. I played sports growing up, and right as I was coming back home from college, it was actually going into football season. Let me just start going out to the games. And guess what? I was going out to the games taking pictures, not thinking I was going to be paid. I was doing it for fun. And then guess what? People started asking me how much I charged for pictures, and I was like, let's see. I charged a whopping $1 per photo and $5 for all the photos that I took of you that night. This is the time when, if you're a photographer, you know this time period when whenever you shoot something, you end up taking like 2,000 photos just because you're just like, we were getting a lot of photos for $5. $5 a photo, $1,000. That seems like a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of work. You need to say, hey, how can I improve my skill set so I can charge these prices? Right now, you don't have a network, you don't have a skill set, you need to get that. In all honesty, I can't go back to this enough. If you're focused on at this point how much money I'm making, then this isn't the industry for you. It is hard enough to make it in this industry when you have just a love and passion for photography and you just have fun doing it. The amount of free shoots that I did and the amount of just like very cheap shoots that I did just to say, hey, I want to try something new, simply because I loved it and I wanted to learn more. And guess what? If you are still trying to get that $1,000 and everything, you need to learn more, because right now you don't know enough, and that's okay. 2, scale. Now let's go ahead and scale this thing. I'm charging a whopping $5 a photo. All right, let's break everything down. Simple math. $1,000 divided by 5. Okay, I had to sell photos to 200 players. How am I going to do that? Well, luckily, ball is a team sport. If I had chose tennis, it probably would have been a lot harder. But football, on each team, you had 11 on offense and 11 on defense. And you had that for both sides. So you had a total of 44 players that I could potentially shoot from. But in reality, most of the good players were playing both sides of the ball. And honestly, the good players were the only ones that were going to be up by pictures, because if you're on the sidelines, you're not really just going to just like buy a picture. And honestly, if you weren't very good and you made it in one of my pictures, then it was usually for like a bad thing like this. Sorry. So looking at $5 a photo, back to that simple math, $50 a game. That is kind of what I was making, anywhere from $35 to like $60. I was kind of right in that range for every game I shot. Now it's time to scale. So guess what? I started shooting on Friday nights. That's where I got started. Well, then guess what? There's still JV. So hey, Thursday nights it is. Oh, hey, there's middle school too. Tuesday nights it is. Oh, Saturday's flag football. Saturdays it is. 4 days a week. I was charging those $5 per player games. $200 a week extra on everything. Cool, I'll take that. That's what, 5 weeks and I've made my $1,000. Cool. That's almost $1,000 a month. And I just got started. Like, guys, it's really not hard if you just think creatively. And that was only working 4 times a week for like 3-4 hours a piece. Like, it really wasn't that bad. Well, I could only be at one place on a Friday, Thursday, Tuesday, or Saturday. So I started getting calls from multiple players, multiple schools, and they're saying, hey, can you come out? And I'm like, oh, I'm in high demand now. Guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and raise my prices to $10 per player. Ooh, that's big. And that's big. And I was charging like an upfront fee of like 20 bucks. Big time career moves right here. First trial run, charging $5 a photo. It would take me about 5 weeks. Well, now I'm charging $10. I basically just cut all that in half. So suddenly it was taking me 2.5, 3 weeks. And guess what? I am now in that $1,000 a month. Third step, reinvest. This is where a lot of photographers will kind of fall off the cliff because they will still have the exact same equipment that they bought. They will still have the exact same skills that they had when they started. This right here is a T5i. I would recommend anybody getting started in photography to get this camera. You can get this for like $250 off used. You could probably get it for like $350 brand new. It is a really good camera to start with. I mean, it takes good pictures, but if I try to shoot a wedding with this thing, it would not go well and they would be upset. And this is where reinvesting into yourself and reinvesting into your equipment comes hand in hand in everything. So let's say, okay, you've made your $500, $600 at this point. You've been going for a couple weeks. All right, maybe reach out to an individual that's a little bit ahead of you and say, hey, I will pay you some money, and in return, you show me how to use your skills. Hey, I will maybe take a class on editing. I will take a class on Photoshop. I will take a class on Lightroom. I will take a class on Premiere Pro. I will do whatever I need to do to just get some more knowledge. Part 2 is reinvesting into the equipment, which is honestly going to be the biggest part of your stuff. If you are trying to make a full-time income and actually taking like profits and like putting it in your pocket at this stage, it's not good. Not a good idea. I promise you right now, it is not a good idea. All the money you make from this, you need to be putting it back into it. I promise you it'll pay off in the end. So I want to reinvest into maybe new lenses, new camera bodies, tripods. Right now you're at the bottom floor. You've got plenty of time to upgrade. I am still upgrading. I have thousands of dollars worth of equipment and I'm still like, I want that and I want that and I want that and I want that. Let's go ahead and break it down a little bit more. I'm going to reinvest in this camera body. Right now I'm shooting pictures for a team and let's maybe buy a 70 to 300 lens. Oh, guess what? I can shoot long range stuff now. Oh, my sports photos just got so much better. Or, hey, maybe I say, let's switch this lens out, which is a very basic kit lens, and say, I'm gonna buy this 50mm lens that I can get at Best Buy for this much right here. And now I can start doing portrait photography. I've never done portrait photography. Portrait photography sounds really cool. Don't people make a lot of money doing portrait photography? Well, that is the industry standard. They do make a lot of money. Oh, well, that's cool. All right, so I got this lens now and everything, and I got this camera and I'm learning and everything. Okay, well, how do I make money doing portrait photography? Well, what's your time worth? I'm gonna go ahead and charge on that cheaper end and grow my network and scale it up. I'm going to raise my prices. And then you repeat that cycle until you are here. I was right where you were just a couple years ago. This YouTube channel is basically documenting me as we continue to build our photography business and grow our media business. And I learned a lot of things along the way with a lot of trial and error. And I want to kind of give back and I want to show y'all what I did and what I learned from. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will be back soon.